Hi, I hope everyone's having a wonderful day today. In this video, I'm going to be looking into the question, what is the person on your mind hope will happen the next time you see them or speak to them? There are three groups to choose from. Group 1 is the blue Kyanite. Group 2 is the Tibetan Quartz. And group 3 is the Amethyst. So if you want to take a moment to center, focus on your breathing, and feel whichever group, maybe multiple groups or perhaps all of the groups that you're most drawn to, I'll give you a minute to make your selection and then we'll get right into it. And there are timestamps in the description box of the video for each group if you'd like to jump ahead. And up next is a close-up photo of the crystals to help you better make your selection. Hi, Group 1. You chose the blue Kyanite. So let's see, what does the person on your mind hope happens the next time they see you or speak to you? Okay, so the first one we have is Jolly Jellyfish, acceptance, faith, and transparency. So this person might have been kind of deceptive with you, and there's a sense of, I want to come clean, I want to tell you the truth. It feels like it's something that they're building up the anticipation of like a confession that they need to make when they start off by saying like, I need you to sit down, I need you to listen, I need to tell you something, that you're going to jump to like worst case scenario. It feels like they might have been kind of awkward with you, maybe acting kind of weird lately, or they've just been very distracted, or maybe even like making up excuses to cancel on plans, or, saying that they've been very busy. And so your heart might sink and you could think, okay, are they breaking up with me? Is this going to be sort of a conversation that is a deal breaker between the two of us? And it feels like it's actually a confession about very sort of deep feelings or like overwhelming feelings. This person may have a hard time kind of asking other people for help. In general, is kind of one of these, I'll just figure it out myself. I'll do it myself. A very like independent, sort of strong-willed or strong-minded person. And so there's a sense of almost like their energy may kind of give you the idea that it's a conversation or a confession to really dread, but it's something that will be very sweet, very endearing, very healing for the two of you, that may involve some kind of like emotional expression on their part, where it's almost like they're hoping that they don't like break down and cry or become very emotional. They're hoping that like a very deliberate and conscious process of like making up excuses or sort of pulling back from you in some sort of way, that you'll be able to sort of forgive and overlook that, because it feels like they're getting ready to sort of confess to you. I'm very overwhelmed by the nature of my feelings for you. I've never felt this way about anyone before. I see you as my future. I see you as the one. I value you. I don't want to lose you. And so because of that, I've kind of been acting from these patterns of like self-sabotage, or, sort of pushing you away when I know I could have just told you about that. I could have just opened up. I could have just confessed things. They may have canceled out on like a very kind of important thing, or like a, ghosted, or just sort of let you down in a way that they know was very disappointing. And whatever they had told you in the past about like the reasons for that, maybe they said they were sick, or, something happened with their phone and they missed the message, something like that, which was not truthful. And so there's a sense of almost like, can you see past the act of deception into the energies which motivated it, which is, I feel very deeply for you. I'm very overwhelmed by this. I don't know what this means. I don't know what to do about this situation. I want to dive in head first to this connection, and yet I know it will change me in a way that I will never be the same. If you were to leave me, I don't know what I would do, like a deep confession of that nature, that there's almost a sense of hoping that you will be able to overlook the fact that they like lied or sort of stretched the truth in some sort of way, and that you will see into the heart of the reality of what they're operating at right now, which is they have fallen in love with you, they're falling in love with you, they want to pull you closer, only they've managed to kind of push you away in some sort of way, or there's like, they want you to not kind of close off to them, or the sting of what they may have to sort of confess or tell you. They're hoping that it's something that will just be kind of like temporary, and that there can be almost like a softness that is returned to, that you will see kind of what they're getting ready to tell you or to confess, that it's very sweet, that it's very endearing. Isn't someone who's wanting to like break up with you. They're wanting to like bring forth the truth of they've pushed you away for as long as they have, or in ways that they have, because there's actually like a deep kind of love for you that they didn't feel worthy of necessarily, or didn't really know how to kind of navigate through or maneuver with, because it's new to them, or because of other things going on in their life, that it was almost a sense of, if this love story unfolds fully or more deeply than it has or than it is, what does that mean for kind of different ways in which I'm sort of living my life, or other priorities that I've had, or other things that I've focused on up to this point. We also have brave bat, perception, change, and flexibility. Yeah, so there's a sense of almost like, I want to show you my vulnerable side. I want to show you some of my fears, and I'm hoping that you will still feel the same way. I'm hoping that it will align us more deeply, that you will see this as almost like a demonstration of affection, to make some kind of confession, or to open up about, maybe this is somebody that is normally a very confident person, a very self-assured kind of person, even sort of like a nonchalant person, but they're very sensitive inside. It's a deep thinker, a deep feeler, and so this is something where it's like, I sense like a kindred spirit energy. These are bats, but it's like coming through as kind of birds of a feather almost, that it's a sense of like, I'm hoping that this woundedness, or this fear of the feelings that I have, and kind of a step forward that I'm getting ready to take in order to admit to you my conduct or my behavior, is as a result of kind of fearing the intensity of these feelings. I'm hoping that it doesn't push you away, but in some sort of way that you can have compassion for me. You can help me to kind of navigate through this. It can help to kind of give you a greater understanding of the moments when I sort of pull back, or might be inclined to kind of, things are going well, and then all of a sudden I kind of change up how I'm responding to you, how I'm showing up for you, that you won't take it personally, that you'll understand and know, like, there are deep feelings here, but it's a struggle for me to kind of accept these within myself, or make myself believe that I'm really worthy of a connection with someone like you, or feeling something like this, that it actually could be mine, that I actually could show up in this situation, and not just mess things up, or not just find out that it's like a fantasy or a dream, and then it all fades away, and I'm kind of left within that sort of personal darkness, or that void space once again. We also have Maktub. So they're hoping that you will reciprocate this kind of honoring of sort of the sacredness of not just kind of the good times that you share with one another, but something about like, you've been able to kind of appreciate and hold them in kind of the lighter aspects. Can you contain my darkness as well? Can you find space within you where these pieces of me can fit? And this is something where it's almost like a truth that needs to be told. And it may come with sort of like, this is where I'm at right now. I'm trying to work on this. I'm trying to counteract this kind of reaction within to maybe self-sabotage, or, to kind of lean into this pattern of sort of pulling away from you when I get very overwhelmed. But I'm not perfect. I'm not at that place where I have kind of a new pattern established, or where I'm walking confidently in the energy of like times where I feel fearful, and I'm able to just kind of stand my ground with you, or move closer to you, or kind of open up and speak about these things rather than kind of just running away and hiding. There's a sense of like, can you accept me for where I'm at in this journey within myself, and also this journey with you, and with this connection. And so it's a sense of almost like maybe feeling as well that you could have some kind of solution, something where you're like, you're admitting to kind of like, I have fears as well. These are my fears, or, these are some of the things that I have done at the times when I have felt very uncertain within kind of what we've built with one another, where it's almost like you're exchanging with each other, not kind of the beautiful and sort of the good things that you've done to kind of build the connection with one another, but where it's something of almost like they're confessing ways in which they've self-sabotaged, and they're really hoping that there's something that you may have to kind of present as well, of like, okay, I can hold space for that. I can be open-minded for that. I can try and understand that. And here are the ways that I, as like a self-aware person, or maybe the kind of a discussion, like a deeper discussion, something that may be kind of like a painful discussion between the two of you, it may prompt you to kind of bring forth confessions of your own, of like, okay, these are times where, we've had miscommunication, or the vibe's been off between the two of us, and this is how I've reacted to it. This is kind of where my mind goes, or my actions take me when I don't feel totally secure within a connection, either because of how the other person's showing up, or something within me that questions my worthiness. So they're hoping that there's some way that you can like, you align very much with one another. They feel very aligned with you in kind of the lighter aspects, the positive aspects, the easier to deal with aspects. But it's kind of like it's a desire to kind of build into some of that sort of dark territory, that place where it's kind of like, okay, now we discover, like, is there true compatibility here? Or is this a situation that like, we can't withstand the storms that exist within one another, or that's created between us? And this is only a situation that can sustain itself if everything goes according to plan, if it's smooth sailing, if it's kind of like more light times than kind of these shadowy experiences. This person may at this point in time as well be going through some things that they haven't shared with you, and so there's almost like a desire to let you know about that as well, something that may inform you about kind of like how they deal with stress, how they deal with pressure, how they deal with fear, how they deal with uncertainty in general, that so that it's almost like it's a desire for you to see like you've done nothing wrong, or it's nothing personal. This is just like an aspect about them that maybe previous partners have found very difficult to deal with. This might have been something like a tendency within that had kind of undermined or eroded other connections of the past. And it's almost like someone who's making the effort, it feels like, to sort of learn from the mistakes of the past, or the connection between the two of you is so important to them, or it's something inside them that just compels them to not keep this hidden, or just keep operating in this way, but to almost like shine a light on this darkness, to help you to see into more of these aspects of them that are not easy to deal with. And it's like, can you love me knowing this? Can you love me knowing that I'm conscious of these things? I know when this happens, and I'm trying my best to kind of not do that, but it just comes up. It's just a tendency within me to like disappear when I feel overwhelmed, to mistrust at face value the good times that we share. It's a shadow of myself to self-sabotage. Things are good, and I find a way to mess that up. Can you not just enable that, but can you understand that this is like a part of myself that I'm aware of and I'm trying to work on, but I haven't reached a place of like having that totally under control, or having broken free of those kind of tendencies and patterns. And in some way that's reared its ugly head in this situation. And it does what we have, is it strong enough to kind of make it through that? It doesn't feel like this is anything where this is somebody who's like cheated, but they almost have just kind of like they feel bad because they kind of like made up excuses. They didn't need to kind of create as much distance as they did or as they have, or again, kind of like cancel plans or be very evasive or kind of close off or, just kind of lie about certain things. They didn't need to do that. They could have just said, hey, I'm feeling overwhelmed. Hey, I need some time for myself. I'm not really in a good headspace right now, or emotionally there's kind of a lot going on. And instead of being honest about that, it's almost like they chose to make up excuses, or they did something that has kind of like, it's created some sort of static between the two of you. Or to bring this out into the light, there's almost a sense of like, would this undermine the trust that you've placed within them? Would this make you look at them in a different way? Would you see them as brave for admitting to these things and saying, hey, this has happened. This is a fact. This is kind of a tendency of mine. This is like a bad habit of mine. I'm aware of it. I'm trying to work on it. Now that you're aware of it, it won't be as easy for me to just do this, but I need you to know this facet of who I am as well, so that if we're continuing forward with one another, if we're growing closer with one another, if we're expanding this connection, then it's not just when the performance hits that everything is aligned with us and we're loving one another and we're participating with one another, but it's also at the times where I'm not the master of myself. I'm kind of faltering under sort of that shadow at the times where it gets messy, or I handle things in a way that is not the best. Like, can you still hold space for me as I course correct, as I come back to myself? Can you sit with me in kind of that darkness as well as in the light? We also have Nirvana. So this is a desire to, again, kind of transcend the limits that have existed up to this point, what you've been aware of about this person, even like aware of their level of self-awareness. There's something as far as like, they're very conscious of this pattern within themselves, and it's something that they may have never even admitted this to another person. It may be something where it's kind of like they've been caught in lies, or again, this kind of like aspect of themselves has sort of tripped them up in other situations. It's been a deal breaker on more than one occasion. And it's a sense of like, I'm trying something different, kind of like nothing changes if nothing changes. And I value what we have enough, or what we could become enough, to kind of put this out on the table. Not just, hey, this is a possibility that this could occur at some point, but this has already happened. There have already been instances of this that I'm aware of in the situation. And I need to call those out for what they are, so that you have a more well-rounded understanding of like who I am as a person, the light aspects, the shadow aspects, so that you can determine, is this what you want? Am I really who you want on my good days and on my bad days? And with that is also the sense of hoping that you will open up about aspects of yourself, because they don't just want to like dump this on you and say, take it or leave it. But it's almost a sense of like, I want us to grow closer with one another by sharing a bit, calling our shadows by name, identifying those for one another, to one another, so that we can build a greater sense of awareness of who we are in both our strengths and our weaknesses as individuals. We also have make the sacrifice. Yeah, so there's a sense here of like they have sacrificed opportunities for like happiness between the two of you, or something that has happened that has like led to disappointment. Like they've seen the disappointment in your eyes that didn't need to happen. Like if they'd only been honest, they didn't need to be deceptive. They didn't need to make up an excuse. They didn't need to like cancel out on plans, or, create distance between the two of you. And yet they did, for reasons that were beyond what was given, or beyond just what you assumed, that had to do with something by way of kind of like feeling they weren't worthy of what you had to offer, or just somebody who self-sabotages, who in some way, shape, or form inside still needs to work on kind of that abundance mindset. Like they got the abundance mindset, but believing that and kind of reprogramming previous beliefs that were ingrained in them, like in the core of who they are, in their vibration, that's still a work in progress. And so there's a sense of like, a conversation which could take place, and they may just be kind of building this up into something scarier than it will actually be. It may be something where you're like, I already figured that was the case, or, it's not so bad, I understand that, this could be something that really clears the air between the two of you. But it's almost like they're scared that if they sort of confess that they've not been totally truthful with you at all times, then a wall's going to go up. Then they lose you. Then they lose the momentum. So it's kind of like a desire to almost do what they're feeling is like the right thing through delivering some kind of uncomfortable truth to you, that hopefully this will kind of help move things forward between the two of you, or in some sort of way give you a greater understanding of their motivations, so that in the times when like this trend or this pattern maybe arises in the future, that it doesn't hurt so much, that it's not so disappointing, that it doesn't take so much for when they kind of like come back out of hiding, or sort of resume their normal kind of interactions with you, that there's not so much effort being made to kind of just act as if nothing has happened, or, to try and kind of like smooth the situation over, that you'll understand. So maybe somebody that's kind of in the midst of a dark night of the soul right now in general, and this could be somebody that's like, I'm trying to show up for you in this connection as best as I can, but I feel very sort of overwhelmed with a lot of things going on in my life and a lot of things going on in this connection. And I'm hoping that confessing that to you, or how that has kind of affected my behavior, that's not going to push you further away, but it may join us in some capacity, in that you can understand where I'm coming from, or maybe you've gone through something similar, or you can hold the space for me while I go through this period of like transition, or facing my shadow, or learning to like master that in some kind of way, so that our connection can become stronger. We also have seek your destiny. So again, there's something about like aligning here, aligning with a different level of your interactions than has been the case before. This is calling something out that has just been sort of hidden, that has been like an unspoken tension between the two of you. There's a sense of like wanting to elevate things to the next level, because they see you as like you align very much with kind of a future that they envision for themselves, that is a love which sort of encourages growth within two people, but then also provides that kind of solid base at the top for one another at the times when there may be turbulence. That it's kind of like a partnership, like teamwork between the two of you. And there's a sense of like, I can't show up as like the best partner at this time, or there have been times in the past where I've let you down as a teammate, or I feel that I've done that through some kind of deception, through something where it's like I could have just told you the truth and I didn't. And so there's a sense of almost like investing in the future that you have with one another by clearing the air over something that they very easily could just not bring it up. But it's something where it's almost like, in order to progress forward, not just like time continues and we're still with one another, or our connection's growing, but to really kind of dig into the heart of the matter, the root of kind of aspects of myself, and hopefully then you admit to kind of aspects of yourself that are not always easy to deal with, that this can strengthen our foundation with one another, so that we can serve as that reminder for each other who we are on the other side of this darkness. So it's not something that is self-identified with, to be a better anchor for one another through turbulence, so that the relationship itself becomes like a fortress, rather than something which is sort of built on kind of an unsteady foundation. So let's get some message cards from their higher self and see what they want you to know right now. Okay, and we have, I'll never forget the time we spent together. Yeah, so this person is like longing for you, longing for a closeness that you've not yet experienced in this connection, that they feel is only accessible through not just kind of putting the best foot forward, not just putting on a show, not just kind of like sitting in all the ooey gooey feelings and, the warm romance, but there's almost something where it's like, I need to show you like the sharper edges or the jagged edges of myself. I need to show you that and still have you kind of be there with an open mind. I need to see that you're not going to flinch when I call this out, I need to witness and experience these parts of you as well, to really know within my heart of hearts, within the core of who I am, that I'm with you through thick and thin. You're with me through good times and bad. That we can find a way to kind of work with this, both the strengths and kind of the deficits within one another. Because I don't want to lose you further down the road if these shadows just compound and become uglier in some sort of way. I don't want that to cause like our connection to come crashing down at some future point. They also say you give me butterflies. So again, this is somebody who's very overwhelmed by the nature of their feelings for you, the intensity of your connection, the intensity of how they feel inside, not just when you spend time with one another, but the echo of that after you've parted ways. There's a sense of like, I've never experienced this with someone before, or I've never showed up in the way I'm planning on showing up now, or I'm hoping that kind of this next conversation or this next interaction or series of conversations, what that kind of develops as far as honesty within the situation. I've never been honest like this with another person. I've never let anyone witness me in this way. So there's a bit of nervousness with that again, you might be sensing and kind of like, okay, are they getting ready to break up with me? Or are they getting ready to kind of just discard me? And it's a sense of like, they're getting ready to like invite you in closer by sharing things that have been kind of just like held within sort of that shadow aspect. They also say, I can't wait to have you in my arms again. So again, there's a desire that this conversation, this interaction, this confession, that it will strengthen your connection, that it will bring you closer, that you can see beyond, kind of the inconvenience of what has happened in the past, or the fact that it's like they'll have to preface it with, I lied to you, I wasn't honest about this. Again, it's nothing that's kind of like, they were seeing someone else, or it's nothing major like that, but it's something where it's almost just like an excuse or a series of excuses, or something that they did that almost kind of created a distance between the two of you that was motivated by fear, but they could have just said something very honestly, and they would have had that kind of distance that they required, but it wouldn't have created almost this like sense of like, okay, well, I lied. And so that's like a weight that now exists within the background. And if that kind of catches up to me, or the guilt that I have about that, or maybe like a trend or a pattern in that capacity, that it's like, that's not the way to kind of move forward and have like a successful connection with you. So there's a sense of almost like, I'm hoping that opening up about this, you can see through that kind of sting of disappointment, or anything that might make you very defensive, anything that might kind of trigger within you sort of a reaction to maybe previous connections you've had with other people where there was a lot of deception or cheating going on or lies going on. And so that might be kind of like a hot button for you. And so it's almost like, if I touch upon this that was almost just a very surface level kind of bending of the truth, or withholding of something, is that going to collapse what we have with one another, or can we come through that stronger than ever because they want to build more closeness with you? So let's get some initials. Can be a first, middle, or last name, or can spell something out, whatever resonates for you. Got K, W, R, F, H, D, O, F, V, A, V, C, B, T, M, S, B, and P. So those are your messages. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, or share. If you'd like a personal reading, I offer those through my Etsy shop, and there's a link to that in the description box of the video. I offer a variety of pre-recorded video readings, written readings, and channeled letters. Turnaround time on everything is 5 to 7 days from the time of purchase. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well. Hi, Group 2. You chose the Tibetan Quartz. So let's see, what does the person on your mind hope will happen the next time they see you or speak to you. Okay, so the first one we have is loving lobster, simplicity, steadfastness, and safety. So this person may be planning some kind of like sweet romantic gesture, something that will unveil to you a different side of them than they have shown you up to this point in time. This is somebody that is almost like worried that you will not appreciate their love language or an aspect of their love language that has been hidden, something that it feels like might represent an effort on their part to really take a leap of faith beyond something that has happened in their past, like prior to meeting you, that caused them to like close their heart down, or kind of go cold or become sort of pessimistic towards love, that sort of changed the way in which they show affection or demonstrate affection. That might have sort of led them in the direction of like self-pity, self-sabotage, lower vibrational connections, and then they've met you. You've sparked something within them that through the experiences with you, the time you spent with one another, maybe this is even someone that has had like a heart chakra activation because of you, with you, the energies between the two of you. They're at a point in like their life or in the dynamic with you of like, I remember who I was before a previous heartbreak happened and kind of closed me off emotionally. And it feels like there's something about kind of what they're planning next to either say or do that is like the way they were most comfortably in like showing affection and love that they haven't done in a long time for anyone. This part of them has been like shut down inside, and you've almost like brought this back to life in some sort of way. And so there's a sense of like it represents an expansion of how they've been showing up for you, but more importantly, how they've been showing up for a long time as far as like love and romance is concerned. It's make or break it hour. It's either gonna be something which, if it's not received well by you, or something that, if your connection progresses forward from this point and then almost kind of, because this may be something that, this could be an aspect of them that in the past it was almost like a level of kindness or generosity that someone else had taken advantage of or took as a weakness, kind of used it against them, or was sort of the aspect of them that was the most easy to hurt or manipulate, that it's kind of like exposing themselves in that way, opening themselves up, like letting you in close through some sort of demonstration, like close enough to hurt them. If they do end up becoming like disappointed, or history repeats itself, or it's kind of like this connection between the two of you turns out in the same way that some other previous connection did, then it's almost like they would just be shut down permanently to the idea of love. That could be somebody that would even tell themselves, well, then I'll just be single forever. I'll just kind of go into hermit mode permanently and that'll be it. But there's like a hopefulness here that maybe if I let you in, you won't do what someone else did to me. Maybe I can give a deeper connection or love or romance in a way that feels most authentic to who I am on a true level, beyond all the wounding, beyond all the defenses, beyond the shell that I've developed around myself as a result of some previous disappointment. Maybe you are the person that was meant to receive and appreciate and reciprocate in a healthy and healing and protective manner this soft part of me, this very loving part of me. And so maybe our connection continues to remain successful, or if there's like some conclusion to it further down the road, it's not the same story of like manipulation and betrayal and hurt and deception that had caused him to like shut down from before. And so maybe it represents, I've moved beyond that identity of the hurt person. The person that was like shut down to the idea of love, or didn't believe in love anymore, or, was kind of the master of self-sabotage. So it's almost something where it's like, it's a desire to kind of step into an era of healing, of loving as if they'd never been hurt before, which they are almost like, they're feeling that that is quite possible with whatever they're getting ready to kind of demonstrate to you, or share with you, or kind of present to you, that will give you a different understanding of like who they are as a person, what they're capable of as far as love and romance is concerned. And there's a lot riding on this for themselves as far as like, I'm ready to take that armor off. I'm ready to like come out of my shell and let you in, or let you kind of see this aspect of myself that has been hidden from people for a very long time. We also have Jolly Jellyfish, acceptance, faith, and transparency. So there's a desire for whatever it is they're getting ready to like say or do. There's a sense of like at face value, you're going to really appreciate it. Maybe something you've been wanting to hear for a long time, or like the how like romantic they are, or what they're capable of as far as like planning and orchestrating kind of a romantic event, a romantic confession, that it's kind of like, anyone would enjoy this. It's something very positive, very pleasant. And so there's a sense of like, maybe this is the step in the right direction to like actively participate in healing the hurts of the past. Maybe you're someone who's not just going to take that kindness or that generosity and use it against me. Maybe further down the road, I won't regret sharing that with you, or giving that to you, or expressing that I'm capable of such things. Maybe this will result in kind of a deep reciprocity, where I feel appreciated for who I am, and the way in which I naturally want to show love, that in some way, shape, or form has been stunted, or I've been kind of like afraid to show that after somebody broke my heart in the past and it caused me to shut down. That there's almost a sense of like, you could be the person that sort of like heals that wound for them by simply being receptive to what they have to give, what they have to share, what they have to offer. This softer side of them, that this may involve some kind of like grand gesture that you receive with gratitude, but it doesn't create a level of like expectation, or something where you may like manipulate or use them, just sort of like, oh, well, they can do this, so there's so much more that they can like present or provide. They may have been with someone who was just kind of like using them, maybe using them for money, using them to, be kind of like celebrated up on a pedestal, or, something of that nature. And there's a sense of it changed the way that they show love, or that they've come to sort of understand relationships. It could have really jaded them toward the idea of love. And you have helped to kind of call them forth out of that pattern, out of that kind of era of woundedness in their life in general, that it's almost like, I'm willing to give love, true love, deep love, authentic connection, one more chance, and it's with you. And there's a sense of like, this could be something that sort of rewrites my narrative moving forward, sets the tone for different type of relationships, or it represents and is symbolic of like, we continue to progress forward with one another. And I finally found the heart that was always meant to kind of receive all of me and reciprocate in a way that I feel valued. I don't feel used, but I feel like honored for who I am and what comes naturally to me and what I'm capable of. This may also be just like a very simple gesture. This may be something that, just demonstrates a level of like thoughtfulness or sweetness that gives you a different kind of image of this person, beyond someone that has all the answers, has it all figured out, has their emotions in check. It's like the softer side of them, the vulnerable part of them. And there's a sense of like hoping and praying that you don't take advantage of that, that you don't like manipulate them because of that, that this isn't like used as kind of an opportunity to sort of twist them around your little finger in the future, as somebody in the past may have done. Like whatever this is, it's almost like it's a sensitivity within that they're looking at as kind of a weakness. It's like their Achilles heel almost, and they're getting ready to like share that with you in the sense of like, I'm entrusting you with this. I feel that this aspect of me could be safe with you, or you've brought it up to that place of like, I want to demonstrate this. I want to show this. I want to introduce you to this facet of who I am. And it's a hope, and it's a desire, not just that it's received well on the surface, but that it's cherished in a long-term sense by you. We also have perception. Yeah, so this is somebody that wants to kind of bring forth a new era of your connection with one another, something that kind of represents a willingness on their part to leave behind cycles of like, I gotta stay 10 steps ahead of everybody when it comes to love and romance. I can't let anyone in close enough to hurt me. I have to keep one foot in, one foot out of all connections. I need to always be scrutinizing, be skeptical, be like overly logical. This is somebody who's getting ready to like drop down into the heart space and allow their heart to lead in the connection moving forward with you, or in something that they're demonstrating that's almost just like it's just the start. It represents sort of turning the page from how they've been showing up for you up to this point, but more importantly, their life in general for a while. It's like, I'm ready to let go of that sad narrative, that mistrusting narrative, that narrative of kind of the wounded person that just sort of closed off, didn't need anyone, didn't believe in love. I'm ready to go back to the start, go back to basics, go back to that place of like the dreamer, the romantic, the person that kind of looked at happy couples and closeness and positive relationships, positive examples of romance, and thought, I want that for myself. I think I can have that for myself, until someone proved that that wasn't the case, and it sort of changed something inside this person. They just sort of kept their hurt all contained within, and they kept everyone else at an arm's length. So it's a desire to kind of like break out of that pattern, break the curse that they put upon themselves as far as love and partnership is concerned, through like a defeatist attitude. And it's the hope and it's the desire that I'm making the right decision by taking this brave step forward in the form of honesty and vulnerability, that I'm making the right choice with you, that I'm ready to embark upon this, and that following my heart leads me in a better direction, not just with you, but for myself in general, than I've been in up to this point. We also have protection. Yeah, so this is somebody who's had their walls up. They've had a lot of armor up prior to meeting you. And it's almost like you've helped to resurrect this person, a version of this person that they thought they had lost. They thought that version didn't exist anymore. They could never love like that again. They could never be so trusting or so comfortable with another person to open up in the way that they're getting ready to open up. And so there's a desire to make you see or understand, like, I would do anything to protect you. I would do anything to save you from experiencing the hurt that someone once upon a time inflicted upon me. This may be somebody then who has gone through a pattern for a while of like hurt people. And with you, something has kind of like shaken them awake. Like, I've got a choice. I can either remain closed off and sort of keep this connection at a distance and deprive us both of the opportunity of like a deeper happiness or a deeper sense of closeness than we've known or have experienced in a while. Or I can take that leap of faith, open up, put myself at risk of being hurt or disappointed or, in some sort of way taken advantage of by the person who's supposed to be closest to me, my romantic partner, my mate, my lover. And yet I'm leaning into the energy of trust. I'm trusting that all the indicators that I've gotten, all the signs that I've gotten, all of the, conversations that I've had with myself, and the times in between our interactions that assure me that it is safe to love, it is safe to follow this feeling, it's safe to kind of give and receive in a way that I've not done in quite some time. It's safe to do that with you. There's a sense of, this feels right. It feels like my heart is safe with you, or who I am as a person and how I love, my true authentic love language, that you'll understand that, you'll decipher that, you'll appreciate that we speak that same language. Our hearts respond to the same efforts. We also have seek your answers within. So this is more that protective energy. There's a hope and a desire that what they're getting ready to show you makes you feel safe to kind of take down your walls, take down your armor. Trust that this person, even if it's kind of like slow progress at this point, or, you know, this kind of leap of faith forward in the form of like tenderness, openness, vulnerability, this may almost be like they take that push to the next level. And then there's a period of time where you're just kind of sitting in that. There may be almost like a shell shock kind of, you know, like, okay, this is new territory. I'm feeling vulnerable. I'm feeling uncertain. I don't know how to operate. It could be a little wobbly from that point, kind of moving forward. But there's almost like a desire for you to see, like they're making the effort, not just to kind of show up for you in this very sort of ordinary way or mundane way, or, you know, they're not trying to like waste your time or sow seeds of uncertainty within you, but there's almost a sense of like, I'm trying to come out from hiding. I'm trying to emerge from this cave that I have been in, that my heart has been kind of entombed for a very long time. And you've brought me back to life. You've awakened something within, a desire to believe in love in a very kind of pure way, that love can be a nurturing force, not a force that makes one vulnerable to hurt and disappointment. And so there's a hope here that you will receive what they have to offer, what they have to give, what they're wanting to present, what they're wanting to show. But then you'll also understand that like the pace of the relationship is changing or how they're showing up, but that you'll walk with them at that kind of stretching into this new territory, shaking the sleep from their eyes, or from their heart rather, infusing that kind of more authentic vibration into your interactions with one another, which may take them some time to acclimate to or become comfortable with. We also said protect the wild and green. Yeah, so another energy of like protection. They want you to feel very safe in their presence, very like I'm don't show this side of myself to people ever, or to people often, or haven't in quite some time, or maybe even aspects of themselves they've never revealed. And so it's almost like a desire for you to see this token of affection as almost something that would be greater than like a promise ring, greater than an engagement ring even. It's something that is like, it's the access point to the heart of who they are, the truth of who they are. Their ability to, or for a period of time, the lack thereof of like answering the call of their heart, following their heart forward, that has informed kind of the nature of the life they built for themselves, the romantic history. There's something where it's almost like, I see you as the person, you've awakened something within me that like the whole trajectory of my life and how I'm living it and how I'm appreciating and experiencing each day can change from this point forward, because you brought something out of a place of dormancy from within me, where I want to infuse our interactions with one another with more truth, with more love than has been the case before. But I also want to, you know, ensure that that isn't just limited to what we have between the two of us, that energy saturates into everything I touch, everything I do, everything I dream into being. And I'm hoping that you'll walk with me in that direction of consciously making the choice to step beyond fear, beyond doubt, beyond uncertainty, beyond past hurts, you know, exorcising the ghosts of the past by showing up very presently in like the here and now with one another, with this opportunity, with this chance to love each other as if we had never been hurt or disappointed in love before. So let's get some message cards from their higher self and see what they want you to know right now. They say, I love spending time with you. Yeah, so this person thinks the world of you. They want to deepen your connection with one another. They want to respond to your emotional needs. Like it feels like they've mapped those out or anticipated those, and there's something inside of them that's like, they sense like a void space within you, or maybe things you've shared about previous connections. It's almost like you've never been loved right. You've never been appreciated properly by anyone. And I know that I could be the man to do that for you, or the woman to do that for you. I could be the person that could meet you at that level. And I feel that you have the ability to kind of meet needs within me that have never been properly met. I've closed off to the idea of love in a certain capacity, and yet you've brought something back to life within me. I want to create more closeness. I want to deepen this bond between the two of us. And they also say, I'm hiding my true feelings for you. So even if they've like told you that they loved you or they've admitted affection, there's like deeper feelings. This could be somebody that almost like thinks maybe you're the one. Maybe you're this person that every misery, every kind of like burnt bridge and broken promise in my past was leading to this point in the here and now. I needed to meet you as my most broken self in order for the two of us to find like wholeness with one another, the mirror reflection of that, every disappointment in love and how we've each had to like pick up the pieces ourselves and put ourselves back together in a different way, how we've been sort of misshapen and reformed by sort of the blessings and the lessons in romance and love. All of that added up to this moment. So we would have the opportunity to fit so precisely or so uniquely within one another's lives. So this isn't just kind of like they're wanting to show you something and express something that's like tenderness and kind of just win some sort of temporary affection, or like a sense of praise from you. It's almost like I'm getting ready to show you a part of myself that I've kept hidden for quite some time. You know, say, let's get through this together. Yeah, so there's an awareness within them that it's kind of like this would be like new territory, not just between the two of you, but just in terms of how they've been approaching relationships or romance for quite some time. And there's a sense of like, I'm going to need to kind of get my bearings with that. I may have periods of time where I feel very uncomfortable and I second guess myself, but I'm hoping that you'll hold my hand through that. You'll be patient through that. That this kind of following my heart, giving love as if I'd never been hurt before, a chance. That this will pay off in terms of that happily ever after in a very realistic and sustainable and fulfilling sense that we both want, that we both need, that we both desire, and that's possible between the two of us. So let's get some initials. This can be a first, middle, or last name, or can spell something out, just whatever resonates for you. Got S, A, G, X, I, C, L, B, A, D, V, Q, R, F, B, U, D, and C. So those are your messages. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, or share. If you'd like a personal reading, I offer those through my Etsy shop, and there's a link to that in the description box of the video. I offer a variety of pre-recorded video readings, written readings, and channeled letters. Turnaround time on everything is 5 to 7 days from the time of purchase. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well. Hi, Group 3. Chose the Amethyst. So let's see, what is the person on your mind hope will happen the next time they see you or speak to you? Okay, so the first one that we have is Calm Chameleon, Versatility, Camouflage, and Agility. So there's a sense of hoping that you will be patient with this person as they take off some kind of mask and reveal some truth to you that has been hidden. This can be a friend that has a crush on you, has feelings for you, and is getting ready to like make a confession about that. There's a sense that you will be very flexible with them as far as like working out the logistics of how to kind of move beyond whatever your understanding is with one another up to this point in time into something deeper. There may almost be a factor of like distance that complicates kind of getting together with one another. There may be something where, based on the nature of your interactions with each other, there could be a sense of like, I don't want to announce this out in the open right away, that we're starting to see one another, that we're starting to explore romance. If you're part of like a friend group, or even if this is something that's like a work connection, it's not like they're wanting to keep you as like a secret or do anything sneaky, but it's almost the sense of just until we sort of work through the process of like, we're trying out something different here, and let's see if this is, you know, whatever our understanding is with one another or our relationship with one another, before we kind of announce to everyone, hey, like we're going out on a date, hey, we're going to explore romance, hey, I've had a crush on this person, I've got feelings, and I want to see what that can lead to in an open and honest way, rather than just sitting and thinking about it. If it turns out that we're not compatible, that we're better off as friends, you know, or whatever that looks like, I don't want it to interrupt our working relationship. I don't want that to create awkwardness or gossip within the friend circle, or, you know, within the community. And so it's somebody that almost, they're hoping that you'll understand that they're not, again, trying to like keep you as a secret in some sort of way, but moving into the next kind of phase of whatever they want to happen or want to explore between the two of you, it's going to take some kind of working behind the scenes or keeping things just between the two of you until you really determine like, yes, this feels right, yes, this works for both of us. This might even be something where if it's like distance is a factor, or someone that's like, I've got these feelings for you, I need to express these to you, I need to kind of like share this with you, but then I'm gonna be busy for like weeks or months, or I'm gonna be going away somewhere. I'm not gonna have this like all this one-on-one time to spend with you, but I need to tell you now how I feel. I don't want to wait. I need to kind of plant this seed within your mind of like, this is what I want to explore further down the road when I've wrapped up these other kind of like work commitments, or I'm back from my travels, or you know, whatever else is kind of like going on in their life at this point. There's almost a sense of sort of like the moment feels right to speak some kind of truth. And it's a hope that you'll understand maybe their position, or that you'll be kind of like patient, or that it's something that you'll understand, like they want more, they want to explore the idea of more with you, but it's nothing that they can rush into at this point. And it feels like their reasoning for that, it's very practical. Again, this isn't somebody that's like, oh, I'm trying to juggle options, or I'm trying to like, you know, hide you from this other person, you know, that I have in my life. It's almost something that makes sense of like a challenge between the two of you that will make almost the next phase of what's possible, or the exploration of that. It's almost like they feel they may be a very private person too. So it's like, I just want this to be between the two of us. I want to announce this when we're like an actual couple. You know, I want to kind of present this to other people when we're certain like, yeah, this works for the two of us. We both are wanting the same thing. The dynamic we have with one another that works right now, it also is successful in this other aspect. I just want that to be between the two of us. I don't want a lot of prying eyes. I don't want a lot of people kind of involved in that. I don't want to open us up to gossip and speculation until we're both really certain, yeah, we're fighting for this connection. We're presenting ourselves openly. We're announcing our relationship to others. So there's like a desire that you'll understand almost their need for discretion or secrecy at this point in like an outward sense. But between the two of you, there's almost like I want to sort of change the nature of how we're interacting with one another. I want to start to explore that. I want to start to have those conversations. I want to start to express those feelings. But I also don't want it like posted on social media. I don't want it like shared with other people. I'm not going to share it with other people. I just want it between the two of us. And I hope that you'll understand like the sacredness or the importance or the necessity of that in this kind of window of time that isn't like forever kind of keeping you as a secret, but just something that is almost like it needs to remain sort of hidden for the here and now. But I want you to see behind the mask that I've been wearing that's been sort of hiding these feelings for you. We also have dignified dragon, honor, good fortune, and individuality. Yeah, so this is like a hope and a desire that you can explore passion, something that is uncharted territory between the two of you, something where there's almost like they want to create and sort of redefine the nature of your relationship with one another, or that you will think in a very kind of created or open-minded sense, or allow just the potency and like the power of the connection that you already share to be something that sort of leads the way or lights the way forward through a period of time where it's almost like there's a waiting game, or again, some kind of like distance, something that needs to just be intimacy between the two of you before it's like expressed out into the world. It's almost like the circumstances around the two of you or around one of you is not ideal at this point in order to openly kind of share this romance, or this maybe somebody that doesn't have a whole lot of time to kind of devote to sort of consistently spending time with you, regular dates, or the communication may be kind of choppy or sporadic, and there's a sense of almost like wait for me kind of energy, wait for me to sort of get beyond this sort of current chapter of my reality or something that I'm working through. Maybe even somebody who has kind of like fears of commitment in general, and there's a sense of like, I don't just want a temporary experience with you. Whatever our connection is to one another at this point, I like it. It feels good. It feels comfortable, but I have deeper feelings. I want to explore something more, but I also know how I am in relationships. So give me some time as I kind of like warm up to that, maybe this is even somebody that's kind of done some self-help. They're very self-aware of kind of like an avoidant tendency as far as romance is concerned. And it's like, I don't want to make those mistakes in this situation with you. So give me some time while I kind of navigate into that uncharted territory of showing up in a consistent manner, because I think that we could develop something very beautiful with one another. I think it could be very good. I think that we're a really good match. I like our dynamic at this point in time, how we relate to one another, what the experience has been up to this point in time. But it's almost somebody that really feels that they're hoping and desiring you will understand and perhaps agree about the importance of kind of building something within an element of like secrecy, kind of keeping the mystery that cloaks around sort of like what the two of you are or what you're exploring with one another. And until there's something really solid that's created, it's almost like allowing that kind of tender, the liminal space of sort of, you're reimagining or redefining your dynamic with one another, that you'll appreciate the sacredness or the importance of kind of keeping that just between the two of you. Not letting the world in on that until it's like said and done, until it's a done deal between the two of you, or until you're really certain, hey, this works. Because it's like, if you explore intimacy or explore those feelings and it doesn't feel right, it's like not the right match, or you're not meeting each other's expectations, and it's a sense of like, I don't want to jeopardize the working relationship, I don't want to create dissension within the friend group, or having us kind of like change up too many things about ourselves or our lives unnecessarily. And so it's something that it's new territory for the two of you. It might even be like they've never entered into a romantic connection from this angle with another person before. And so there's almost a sense of like, I don't know how to maneuver in that capacity. So I think that this needs to just be something during that kind of awkward phase, or whatever that might become. It needs to just be kind of embarked upon between just the two of us. We also have gratitude. So this is somebody that feels like that they're hoping that you're going to reciprocate their feelings. So it's maybe something that you've not really discussed that before. There could have been some flirting or, some kind of suggestion, but it's not anything that's ever been addressed openly. And so it's almost somebody that's like, I hope they feel the same way. I hope she likes me too. I hope he likes me too. I hope that we're both on that same page with one another. We're like, yeah, this is a good idea. I hope this is a mutual crush situation and I don't end up looking like a fool. I hope that we are able to kind of develop this situation with one another and it works out. This is somebody who doesn't want to have to keep it hidden. They don't want to kind of just have a secret lover. They're not wanting to, have you be just kind of this sneaky link that they're hooking up with and nobody's the wiser. But there's a sense of almost like evolving beyond whatever the defined relationship is at this point. That there's a sense of like that you'll appreciate kind of the opportunity to just sort of build that intimacy without a lot of prying eyes, that will be in alignment with sort of what your intuition tells you. If you reciprocate their feelings for you, that you're going to say, yeah, that sounds like a great idea. That sounds totally reasonable. That sounds like exactly what we should do in this situation. We also have authentic expression. Yeah, so there's also a sense of this person's desire is that they say everything correctly, that it comes out right, that they don't trigger you into thinking that they just want a situationship. Because even if it's something that's like your coworkers or your friends and it's kind of like, okay, I like you, I've got feelings for you, I want to explore something more, but I don't want everyone to know about that. I want to like go out on dates with you or spend time with you, but I want to do it in such a way that we're not going to encounter people that we know. I want to keep this private at first, that doesn't come off wrong, that it doesn't come off as you thinking they always just want to have you like in the background, that this is somebody that it's just in this introductory sort of phase, or maybe even the fact that there's like distance between the two of you, or they're needing to take some distance after this confession. And so they may give you a disclaimer like, these are the feelings, this is what I want to work toward, but I don't want you like announcing that. Like, I'm not going to announce that yet. Please don't sort of like share that with other people. Please just kind of keep that to yourself. I want this stage of our interactions, or the broadening of those interactions, to be just between the two of us. They're desiring that doesn't come out wrong, or doesn't offend you, doesn't trigger you in some sort of way, because there's a sense of like, we don't know if we're going to be good with one another as lovers. We don't know if like the friendship or the good working relationship, or kind of the good times that we have with one another, or this kind of vibe that we have going on between one another, is that going to translate into the realm of romance? And if it is, there's a sense of, they're very curious and very excited about, okay, let's see how far that can go. Let's not put any limits as far as, what that can develop into. But then there's also a sense of like, if we find that doesn't work, if we're not compatible, there may be a lot you don't know about one another. If it's like a coworker or like a friend, it's sort of like, okay, we may discover parts about each other that just don't fit in with what we're looking for in a romantic partner. And I want to be able to maintain that foundation that we have. I want us to still be able to work with one another without awkwardness. I want us to still be able to hang out with all the same people without kind of people picking sides, or rumors going about, or like a sense of us having to sort of give up our social circle or our hobbies or our interests, just like however you know this person, to where it's almost like they really hope that you're gonna understand that necessity on their part to kind of just keep it between the two of you at first. And we also have love without condition. So there's a hope that they are not going to like fumble their words or misspeak in some sort of way, or inadvertently trigger or hurt your feelings. They may not be aware of like what your triggers are, or really what your romantic history is. They may have some kind of slight idea, but you yourself may be a total mystery to this person, and vice versa. You may just know little details about certain things or nothing at all. And so it's kind of like, I don't want to overstep a boundary. I don't want to offend you. I don't want to have you kind of like read more into something than it is. It's almost like a first step in an entirely new direction, and kind of working up the courage to sort of like, okay, we acclimate. We have this like trial period with something, and if it works and if it fits and if it feels right, then I do want something more. But it's almost like there's a desire to not, like, to give you enough information without making promises that they can't keep, because they really value the dynamic that you have. They respect you as a person. They don't want to like create any confusion or upset or uncomfortability or misunderstandings between the two of you. And so it's a desire that everything, there's almost a sense of like, I hope just magically we have this understanding with one another. I hope I say everything right. I hope the conversation goes really well, or what I present, like I don't come on too strong, or I'm not kind of giving the impression that I'm just looking for like a sexual hookup or like a situationship, but that this person, you the viewer, understands like I feel something for you. I'm attracted to you. I'm curious about what more we could become to one another, and I want to explore that slowly but surely in a hidden sort of way that's just between the two of us before like other people become aware of that. Not because I'm trying to hide you, but because this is different than how I've ever approached the idea of love and partnership before, or the nature of those circumstances. It's almost like preserving or keeping those intact should it not work out between the two of you. That takes precedence, or that's important, and they're hoping that you see that in the same way. We also have here the ancient ones. So there is a desire for you to kind of see them as somebody that is hopefully different from what you've experienced in terms of like past patterns of wounding and disappointment. That there's almost a sense of like, they may have been sitting on the fence about this for quite some time. They may have been like, is it the right time to say it? They may have been almost like trying to test or bait you, and kind of like, okay, does this person have feelings for me too? Is this like a mutual crush situation? They may have been like seeking out information even about you, and kind of like, okay, I need to become as well informed as possible. Like, am I even this person's type? Am I even the type of person they would be interested in? Because they don't want to look like a fool, and they don't want to make you feel foolish or uncomfortable in some sort of way. It's almost like they want to be their authentic self. They're hoping and desiring that you appreciate kind of the step forward that they take, or the way that this is presented. But it's almost like, I don't even know what you're looking for in a person. I don't even know what you want in a partner. I don't even know much about like your romantic history or your disappointments, and if this is going to be some huge trigger point that not only just like turns you off to the idea of what we can explore with one another, but that it creates that same awkwardness that I'm seeking to avoid in the workspace, in the friend group. There's a sense of almost, this may be somebody that is desiring not to repeat past patterns for themselves. They might have misread signs that somebody else had given them in their past, or they just have a hard time reading maybe like social cues in general. They're not very good at kind of like making a move towards people, and so there's almost a sense of like they want to get it right, but there's a hesitation, almost like, is this the right time? Is this the right approach? Are you feeling the same thing that I'm feeling? Are you interested in me in the same way that I'm interested in you? Or are you just being friendly? It's just part of your personality. Am I somebody that you could envision romance with in a very positive way? Or is this something where I'm going to be just kind of pushed in the friend zone, and then I'll regret even saying anything? So they're hoping that kind of their approach that they've been thinking of for quite some time, that it's well received by you. So let's get some messages from their higher self and see what they want you to know. Okay, and they say, I get excited every time I see you. Yeah, so this person definitely has some kind of physical reaction whenever you're around, whenever they hear your voice, whenever they look into your eyes. There's a sense of like, I could fall in love with you. I could see myself in a relationship with you. I could see myself settling down with you. But I need to be certain that it's right in order to, again, kind of preserve sort of whatever the other aspects of the dynamic that you have between the two of you, what those are. They also say a lot has changed. So you might have met this person when they were coming out of a relationship, or maybe even like you were coming out of a relationship. And this is somebody that's like ready to experience love, ready to experience partnership, but they want to do things differently with you than they've done in past circumstances. So this is somebody that is like, they're very cautious. They've changed their mind a couple of times. They've been right on the brink of kind of saying something. It feels like on more than one occasion. And they're kind of just working up the courage, building up the nerve to just sort of like, okay, let's have this conversation. Let's get this out there. Let me hope that this comes out in a way that isn't offensive, isn't confusing, isn't something that is not agreeable or not reciprocated, because there's a sense of you've changed the direction of where they thought a connection with you would lead inevitably. Like this person might have just like, oh, they're attracted to you, but you're a coworker. You know, you're a friend. And then as they've spent time with you, or you're part of the friend group, or, you know, within their community in some way. And it's like the more they've seen you, the more they've gotten to know you, the more they've kind of sat with these feelings. It's like, okay, I'm developing feelings for this person. I've got a crush. I don't just want to sit here and like think about this. I want to do something about it. And they also say, you always know what to say to make me feel better. So they feel very comfortable in your presence. They feel that you've got a good rapport, like a good style of communication with one another. And so there's a sense of expressing their feelings or whatever they may have to say. They don't want it to sound like they're propositioning you in some sort of way, or that they just kind of like, you know, want something like secretive and hidden. But there's a sense of almost like it needs to be between the two of us for a period of time, but I don't want to just like leave it in that space. I'm not just putting the cap on that is all this can ever be, or that's all I'm desiring. And so there's almost a sense of like, I hope my words come out right. I hope that you're able to understand where it is I'm coming from, or my motivations for how I'm presenting this, what I'm saying, what the next steps between the two of us can be or should be, because I'd like to get to know you more. I'd like to spend more one-on-one time with you, or maybe even one-on-one time with you for the first time, to see like, we work well with one another as we are, but is this something that that kind of aligned vibration and these kind of feelings that they have, or this sense within them that kind of stirs when they're in your presence, is this something that translates into, you know, we're looking one another in the eyes and kind of leaning into those romantic feelings? So let's get some initials. Can be a first, middle, or last name, or can spell something out, just whatever resonates for you. Got M, W, S, P, N, W, L, R, C, B, V, F, T, G, S, N, H, A, Y, B, G, M, O, O, Q, and U. So those are your messages. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, or share. If you'd like a personal reading, I offer those through my Etsy shop, and there's a link to that in the description box of the video. I offer a variety of pre-recorded video readings, written readings, and channeled letters. Turnaround time on everything is 5 to 7 days from the time of purchase. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well.